Okay, guys, Sailing Prepper here. Only going to be on for a short time, a few minutes. I'm going to cover a few simple things, first of all. One of the things I've heard is people say Joe Biden is now presidential. This has been going on for a few weeks since he bombed Syria. Donald Trump bombed Syria, and Obama bombed Syria. Each time they were all considered presidential. Now, I've also heard this other thing. They say that he was protecting the troops. Well, guys, no, he wasn't. Joe Biden was not defending our troops in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Syria had absolutely nothing to do with the troops that were being attacked. Really want to know? Those were Iraqi backed rebels. And they were backed, which means basically Iran, at the very least, said, hey, good job, guys. That's what backed rebels means. Sometimes it's guns, weapons they might supply, but they were Iraqis who just wanted Americans to get the hell out of their country. Okay? This is a fact. There's no fiction to it. All right? Iraqi backed rebels backed by Iran, and they just say Iran backed whatever they wanted to call it. Okay, terrorists or rebels or whatever. The fact of the matter is, all it means is that Iraq or Iran backed up some Iraqi people who wanted Americans to get out, whether it was financial, money, or otherwise. The Iraq government, the new Iraq government, the one that we put in place, said, get the hell out. All right? This is all fact. They did it right after Khashoggi, or the good General Soleimani was murdered. Okay? Now, you might disagree with me on that. That's for another day. Bite me if you disagree. I don't care. Man was a hero. Now, let's go with the other thing with Joe Biden. For all you out there who actually decided to vote for him for money, how many times does government have to lie to you? For example, Vietnam, Gulf of Tonkin incident in Vietnam, all the other incidents in the world that we've committed war crimes over the last 20 years since JFK was murdered by the CIA. How many? We got the Gulf of Tonkin. We got a whole bunch of stuff that happened. At one point, Israel actually, and I believe it was in the 70s, that actually attacked one of our naval ships, and it was deemed hush hush. But over in Israel, they'll tell you, yeah, we did that, and they laugh about it, but it was because our government wanted them to. Pilots that were attacking one of our naval ships, they lost the fight, and our soldiers were told hush hush, and that you can look it up. It's a thing. I can find it later. Said that with all these lies that have been happening. Oh my God, over the years, 9/11. How's this? Weapons of mass destruction, right? Yeah, it was more like weapons of mass destruction because there were no weapons of mass destruction. Regardless if he was good or bad, talk to an Iraqi. They didn't want you to actually go into their country and bomb them. It was an issue they wanted to take care of for themselves. Yeah. They would have rather have done that than see millions or thousands and thousands of innocent people being murdered and bombed. Sorry. So do you want, if that's the case, guys, okay, we are the biggest police state in the world here in the United States. Should somebody come in and bomb us? We have multiple human rights abuses right here in our own country, whether you believe it or not. Should somebody? Think about that. How about what happens to the Native Americans on a regular basis, still to this day? Yeah, treaties being broken, natives actually being forced off their land still. The pipeline in Minnesota, for example. Okay, now let's talk about this mask. And this will dive into Sweden a little bit. You have all of these masks that are supposed to protect us. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm not a scientist, right? I'm not that intelligent, right? I'm the average Joe. However, if that were the case, you ever think about Muslim women who wear those hijabs all over their body and keep their face constantly covered? In the Middle East, they keep a lot of faces covered. Has not stopped the coronavirus from getting to them, has it? Hasn't even slowed it down. No, hadn't done any of that. Now, speaking of those hijab things, I don't care if a woman wears it or doesn't, okay? But I don't like hypocritical people. And there are a few countries like Sweden over in Europe that made it illegal for women to wear them. Now, all you have to do is make it illegal for them to be forced to wear it in your country. Not make it illegal in your country if you're really fighting for women's rights. Because what if those women actually want to wear them? You ever looked at a nun? People got to think on both levels here. All right. When you say it's a little hypocritical when you say, oh, they're going against women's rights by making them wear those headbands for their religion, the head face covering things. I got news for you. By making it illegal for them to wear it and telling them they're not allowed to wear it, that's also going against their rights. Because what if they choose to? So there's a little thing there going on with that. So I say, leave them alone. Just give them freedom. Okay? We're going to go into one other thing before I take off. And apparently I got 2 people watching. I don't know who the third is, but thank you for joining. Now, the next thing I'm going to add into this. All right? Going back to the original. The bombing of Syria. The people in Syria had absolutely nothing to do with that. Therefore, when Biden bombed people in Syria, don't care if they're Iranian-backed rebels, Iraq-backed rebels, whatever. They were in Syria, they were Syrian. Okay? If nothing else, at least they were legally in Syria. Just like Russia was legally in Syria. We're not. So bombing Syria is considered a war crime, even by our own government. You know why? Because in all the last 20 years or whatnot it's been that we've been over in the Middle East, it's all been illegal. For one simple reason. The United States government did not go through the Senate and the House and vote to declare war. Okay? So all this is illegal. And all these things are considered war crimes. Yeah. So the whole Iraq war is considered a war crime. Now, beyond that, even by our own standards in our own country. So rules, laws don't seem to apply to these people. Now, we have that, and like I said, so I'll put this scenario to you in a different way. Okay, let's say we do get into a fight with China. And China bombs one of our aircraft carriers, and the aircraft carrier sinks. Do we go bomb France for that? Okay, only got a few more minutes, but go for it. I get your thoughts on something off subject. What do you think of West Potter's 15 as a bug out boat? I'm not familiar with that boat. Uh, so I'll give you my honest opinion. Anything that's above 30 feet in length and can hold at least your basic material, um, like you know your basic things like a head, bow, stern, has all the basics. Uh, Berth, quarter berth, and a galley. Place for you to cook, place for you to do all that. Where you can at least fit, I'd say, some solar, wind, and I'd have to say a water maker would probably be the best idea for uh a boat. Yeah, a 15 pocket cruiser. I mean, that's the only thing I got against it is it's a 15 pocket cruiser. If you're not going far and you're not planning on long term, you're better off going by land. If you really, really, really got to get out of somewhere and it's your last resort, sure, but you still got to stay close to shore, at least close enough. I mean, you can go out a ways for a little while, but you're not going to get very far with a little pocket cruiser. Anything 15, that's not even a 26 footer. You're going to need, if it's long term, and I'm talking long term like a month, okay? Anything even longer than that, but at least even a 30-day trip. If you're planning on going anywhere in the ocean, you're going to want to have 30 or more. I have a 33. I barely get past what's needed. Some people have gotten by with smaller boats, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't go with a tiny pocket cruiser like that. If you were planning on a bug out boat and having it small but short term, that means you'd have excessive water, maybe a portable water maker, which still isn't much. I would suggest maybe 26 and above. I wouldn't go any lower. Maybe a 25 at the very least, only because it's like a foot difference. Depends on the bow. Um, and then I'd stay close to shore. I'd be like using it, like say if you were where I am in New York, I'd use it to maybe get to Florida, maybe surf the coastline to Texas. I wouldn't go beyond that. You could probably go into like Mexico with something that's 26. But you could get pretty cheap boats if you don't already have one. A 15 footer would be like a last ditch effort. Uh, Going back to the topic, and sorry. Well, that's a lot better of a choice. Uh, look around with the way things have been. I mean, I got mine set up beforehand. I'd still prefer a bigger one for me. Depends. How far do you want to go if you're going? I mean, are you talking like, do you want to leave the country, like cruise around the world, or are you just trying to get out of Dodge in an immediate area? Because that's going to make a difference. Um, Anything where you go into deep ocean water, I say I've seen people do it with less. I've seen people do it with a 26 footer. But you have to be really experienced. I mean, should be really experienced regardless. The Ohio River. Um, See, rivers and lakes, especially rivers. It's fine, I guess, if you're not planning on going much farther than the river. If you can get to the ocean from the Ohio River, I'm not familiar with Ohio. I don't think you can. I don't know if any river that leads to it. But if you're stuck in a landlock like that, you probably would want to go with a smaller boat like a 26 footer. At least a 26 footer you can hook to a car or a truck. And from there, take it to the ocean. Like if you get a truck, you could put a 26 footer on a truck and haul it yourself. Okay. So okay. Um well, if you could go through the locks to the Mississippi and go down to Louisiana, then I'd suggest 26 or higher. At the very least, I'd go with that 26, not a 15-foot pocket cruiser. I anything that goes out to the ocean, you got to realize you're dealing with a big current, and I mean it's bad enough. Even with mine, you have to know what you're doing. Like seriously, know what you're doing. I don't know what your skills are with a boat, but I'd say at bare minimum 26 and above. I'd try to stay away from a 15 unless it was a last ditch effort. Anyways, back to the subject because I got to make this quick because I got to get ready for work soon. Um, like I was saying, so you got all this stuff. He wasn't anything like that. The Biden was not presidential in any way, not sticking up for the people in any way, shape, or form, not sticking up for our soldiers. Okay? And if anybody believes out there that smart bombs are actually good or are better for people, I'll tell you, 90% of what they call smart bombs, where we drop bombs on people, don't actually hit their targets. They hit innocent people. And that's an actual statistic. Yeah. The 30 would be a better, yeah. But I would take something if you're going if I'm right, if that's what I think that is, you're talking about a motorboat. With that 30 footer. I personal opinion. I mean, some people like motorboats, but my personal opinion is I want to be able to go long term, so I'll go with a sailor. I'll go with a sailboat. I can still put an engine on it, and I can still go. I can go all the way around the world with a sailboat. Yeah, I believe the Chris Crafts. They're all. I might be wrong about this. Maybe they make some sailing boats for that, but I believe the Chris Crafts are all motorboats, and you're limited to where you can go with a motorboat. Big time limited. But yeah, back to topic. So you have that, and then you have the other thing. Like I said, if Biden actually plans on giving you all this money, I haven't received any of it. I received my first one, but I didn't receive the second one, and I probably won't receive the third one. Yeah, but either way, for this money he wants to send, and I don't care. I have the money, so I don't care. I mean, I work for a living. I'm not rich, but I have enough money. Like I said, I own a boat. Yeah, paying it off, but I own it. It's mine. Anyways, thanks for the two people that showed up. I've got 10 minutes to get ready for work. Um, hopefully, I could do this again. Uh, at some point, maybe I'll put up a time for it. Any questions about boats? Maybe I'll make one just specifically about boats that I can get, because this is boating for preppers and dark secrets, apparently, because that's what I do. Uh, and apparently, I yell about the government. So, thank you for showing up. Selling Prepper, signing out.